All right, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time of the day or whichever time of the day you're tuning in. Welcome to the Raw Podcast. I am your host for today, Rahsaan Corbin II. Unfortunately, my co-host Omar couldn't make it today, so we're rolling solo today. But today's guest, CEO, well, Mr. CEO himself, Austin Williams. Say what's up to the people real quick.
What's up, y'all? How's it going? How's it going?
Man, oh man, it's been a long time. It's been a while since we caught up. I think the last time we actually caught up was at NASB 50.
Right.
Literally ran into each other unintentionally at the
Yeah.
career fair. We're all like, yo, you're like, yo. And then we just ended up catching up while I was in line waiting to talk to one of the companies.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, welcome to the podcast episode today. I want to thank you for being here. So people already know we're gonna start with a little icebreaker.
Okay.
All right. So if you were, let's see. I had this written down, but I'm trying to paraphrase it so I don't read off it robotically. All right, we're gonna do it
Read
like
it.
this.
Say
Okay. let's
it.
say, let's see. This is gonna kind of fit in because most people who are PhD students end up going back to academia in the long run, become a professor. So,
Mhm.
like, what are three subjects you would teach if you were to go back in academia and be a professor?
Um, okay. So actually, I really enjoyed chemistry. My PhD right now is going to be in material science, so that's kind of included in there. I would say chemistry first. It's a gym chem class. Um, I want to say calculus one next because like that's this
You're a
introduction.
saint. You're
Yeah,
a saint.
nice little entry level for them. And the last thing I teach is some like applied engineering course where people can actually see what they're learning and how it applies to the real world. So that's really it. That's really it.
Got you. Appreciate those answers because
Yeah.
even taking that PhD route's a really big step. Not too many people take that first step right away. You're one of the few people I know that took the step right away instead of, going to industry for a little bit. So
Yeah.
appreciate those answers. And if we do see you in the long run at those college in the future, definitely promote because I know you're going to help everybody achieve the best they can with these classes if you do choose to go the route.
Yeah, if I do choose to go academia, we're gonna see about that. We're gonna see about that.
All right, so now we got the icebreaker out the way. Let's get to know a little bit more about you. Like, what makes you you? Like, where are you from? Where'd you go to school for undergrad? And where are you at now?
Yeah, so I'm from PG County, Maryland. I went to FAMU for undergrad or graduated from Florida A&M University in 2003. What made me choose FAMU? FAMU is simply the best. Why would you choose anything else? And no, I also got a scholarship to go there.
Okay.
What school I'm at now? I'm at Carnegie Mellon University. I'm studying material science and engineering. What made me choose that school? Carnegie Mellon is just great at engineering. It was a different, how do I say? It's a different type of culture than FAMU. It has a bit more resources, and I like where it's able to kind of take my career trajectory. What am I studying? Let me choose it. Yeah, I said I'm material
So you
science.
answered that. I get it.
Yeah.
So did you apply to any other schools? Was Carnegie Mellon your first choice?
Yeah, I applied to MIT and what like Harvard and a bunch of others. I think Johns Hopkins. I just did not get into them, to be honest with
Mm,
you. Yeah.
Carnegie Mellon seems like a good choice for you. You seem like you're settling pretty well. You're about a year done. You're a year in now.
Yeah, year's done. So going to my second year. Um, there isn't a specific timeline to when you can finish your PhD. You finish when you finish.
Yeah. I have a friend. He's going to Virginia Tech. He's studying EE, electrical
Mhm.
engineering. So I said props to him. But he has different goals in the long run. Why he wants to do it. He wants to eventually go back to Apple because Apple hires a lot of like
Yeah.
PhD people because they have top notch material with their products. So he wants to go back into that industry.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna move. I usually start with the leadership stuff first and the school stuff last. But we're wait, mess up that word. We start with the leadership stuff first and then school stuff last. Yeah, I said it right. But we're
Mhm.
gonna do it in like a little reverse chronological order. because
Okay.
not too many people really know about grad school and like when in life will you had that kind of moment where you decide to go. So like
Yeah.
was that always your goal in undergrad or was it something that developed over time?
No, it's definitely something that was developing over time. It really came after I started doing undergraduate research. I just decided that I like doing research. I like, kind of asking questions, getting my hands dirty, drawing hypotheses and coming to conclusions. And yeah, once I kind of got to my senior year, the job market, at least in 2023, wasn't exactly the best. It's like trying to get a job. You're kind of pulling straws. So I felt like I can just better my chances if I get a advanced degree. So yeah, now I'm here.
That's dope. And then what do you hope to achieve or discover through your research by the end of your PhD program? Because like you said, there's no set timeline, but what's the ultimate goal?
Yes, my personal goal is to do two things. It's to develop a coating or material that can make cochlear implants, which I wear, waterproof, completely waterproof. And my end goal of that is to have my own startup that is going to, sell that product or that material to whoever may need it.
Mr. CEO, do you plan on getting an MBA to, learn more of a management side?
Honestly, no. Just because I've learned to discover that MBAs aren't really necessary to, start a successful business or at least be on the administrative side of a business.
Mhm.
Neither is a PhD. However, a PhD does give you a lot of technical expertise that can help you down the road.
Got you. Have you encountered any significant challenges being a year into your research or, being a year into your PhD program, and how have you addressed them?
Yeah, it's mainly just classwork. That's been difficult. It's a transition from my undergrad being in industrial engineering and then now having to switch to a material science. It was like a bit of a jump because you have to relearn a different nomenclature and jargon that engineers use and things like that. So classwork was a bit of a challenge, but research wise, it was smooth sailing because as long as you're able to ask a question and run the experiment, draw a conclusion, you're able to do good research. So
Got you. How do you balance your coursework, research, and other responsibilities within this program? Because you have a life outside of school and everything.
yeah, so balancing is a great word to use there because sometimes it's hard to balance. Um, I would say when the coursework got heavy, I would just take priority. You would just have to, put in that 11, 12 hour day or whatever it is. And then other times when research took over, you just have to do what you have to do for that. I would say generally on a perfect day, you're able to kind of focus, let's say 4 to 5 hours out of an 8 hour day on research and the rest on coursework. But other responsibilities kind of just come, they pop up as they appear, and you can just kind of tackle them as they come up. But yeah.
What about mental and physical exhaustion? How do you know when it's time to take breaks?
I think me personally, I know when it's time to take a break when I feel like I'm not able to focus on what I'm doing anymore. And I think that's just the main thing. Like if I'm working on an assignment, I'm just constantly banging my head against the wall. I would take a break and come back to it or ask someone, for help. Mentally, physically, I just try to stay ahead of it. So yeah, you're gonna be tired a little bit. You can take a nap. There's nothing wrong with naps,
Oh yeah,
So yeah, that's it.
I've taken plenty of naps during undergrad. Right there in the Nesby study room between
Absolutely.
classes. All right, so going off of that, can you describe the mentoring and support you receive from faculty members and advisors?
Yeah, I can describe a lot of mentoring and support I receive. It may not include everybody. So, if I
Oh yeah, yeah, go ahead.
everybody, I would definitely say the first person I can think of is Dr. Caldwell. Her program with the engineering LLC for engineering undergrads was really great. The opportunities I get from her are just, invaluable essentially. Like they're just able to put you on a different path than what you would have without a engineering undergrad LLC. Um, my research professor that I was under, Dr. Dickens, in the HPMI in the industrial engineering department, he was really good and just able to pair me up with current PhD or graduate students and do research under him and under Dr. Balaji, a postdoc who was in the lab. What else? My own personal mentor. I don't know if he wants his name on here, but I'm just gonna call him JC. You know who he is. Um, And yeah, he was great, just kind of showing me his way through engineering, and he's still mentoring me in grad school. And who else? Um, yeah, let's just stay there. Let's stay there. If I think of more, I'll mention them later.
Okay. Do you have personal relationships with your mentors outside of just, the coursework or even research
Um,
or even just areas where they helped you out?
yes, I would say a couple of them. Maybe not on like a research level. Like my research professor, and we don't really have a relationship like that. I also don't really talk to Dr. Caldwell as much anymore now that I graduated from FAMU. But yeah, it's definitely helpful to have a relationship outside of just, what we need to do. So kind of adds more to the connections and the relationship, makes it seem like there's more trust involved. And yeah, yeah.
Got you. Um, what are opportunities for professional development that you've encountered since you've been at Carnegie Mellon?
For Carnegie Mellon, opportunities for professional development. So what I'm thinking on that is just like career services, like
It can be all the above because professional development can be how you're helping out other people who maybe want to get into your same research or even helping out other classmates or research. All the above, I'll say. There's nothing, no limits to this.
okay, yeah, yeah. There's definitely an opportunity just to work as a team. Like we call it a cohort. We all come in together and go through the same course load and really just have to put your brains together to develop or tackle these challenging problems. So there was plenty of times where I was on the receiving end. I hope to be on like the explaining hard topics to other people or other people in the future. I would say there's been plenty of trips and other opportunities, like meeting you at Nesby. That was through CMU, just getting there, trying to do some recruitment for CMU. Um, mm, 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 mm. mm. Let's just leave it there. Let's leave it there. I may come
Yeah, I was gonna
back.
say, I know you only experienced so much in your first year. You're still kind of processing everything, especially
Yeah.
that transition. So going off of that, what was the transition like for load wise from undergrad to graduate school?
Course load wise, it's definitely a lot more. I would say your comparable semester of grad school is about double your workload of your junior year of engineering, which junior year of engineering was kind of like the hardest,
Yeah,
level of grad. So just double that. And that's like your first semester of grad school. They claim it's like a 40-hour week workload, but if you're coming from like a different department and then transitioning into material science, I would genuinely say we're pushing 60 to 80-hour weeks. I mean, every week. That's what it felt like. Um, so it was a bit of a struggle, but once you get it, I think once it clicks, it's there.
got you. You touched on this already, but how do you plan to stay engaged with Carnegie Mellon's community or your field of study or research post graduation once you're finished?
I plan to stay engaged with the community. I think I'll be uh big into mentoring. Hopefully at that point I'll have my own startup going and everything should be worthwhile for PhDs who want to pursue a career in entrepreneurship. I would be happy to talk with them and discuss, the further steps. And for the material science field itself, I have no problem going to conferences and, talking and presenting on the research and work I'm doing.
Can you expand on a startup a little bit? Because I'm someone who wants to eventually, after I gain, a few more years of industry experience, I want to fully, engage into the startup space. So can you expand on more of your overall vision? Like, do you expand the plan on diving into other industries as well, or are you going to kind of stay focused in the material world?
Yeah, so I have kind of two very distinct startup ideas right now. The first one, which is currently live and working on a web demo, is called Soki AI. That's a platform that was originated from us wanting to eliminate household food waste. So we're going to use AI and computer vision to track different grocery items in your household and provide you with a personalized meal plan. That may pivot to a different business model, but that's our current first one. And then the second one is going to be the waterproof material for cochlear implants. And that's just going to enable complete waterproof and cochlear implants right out the box. And so I would say at least advice for a startup is there are different resources for different levels. So if you're in ideation, that's just you trying to come up with an idea and you trying to see if people will pay for what you're hoping to create. We're going to call that ideation and customer discovery. This is a super important step to making a startup because startups often fail. The number one reason why startups fail is because there's no product market fit, meaning no one wants to buy what you want to produce. So you
Right.
should definitely get out there as early as possible, and it's pretty much free to call people, call who you think your target demographic is, whoever you think is going to buy your product, and ask them if they would buy their product, if they would buy your product. Try to get that in a quantitative fashion. So on a scale of 1 to 10, um, how often are you to do X, Y, Z on a scale of 1 to 5? What's like, how much would you pay for a product like this? Things like that. That's super important. And then once you get that out the way, you're able to meet up with different funding opportunities. So the best one I would say is definitely non-dilutive funding or grants. That is a way for you to get free money from the government. I would look into NSF SBIR. I think that's about $300,000 for free to develop a product on some eligibility requirements with the NSF. You'd read up more on that. And then there's an additional follow-on capital, I believe, of 1.5 million. And that's completely non-dilutive. So you can just get a free with that $1.8 million from the government, essentially. I would also look into angel investing. This is now dilutive funding. So these are people that are going to pay for or give you a piece of money for a piece of your company. And look into venture capitalists. They may come into your startup at different times. So there's early stage, there's growth stage, and there's late stage venture capitalists. Um, and these are people that also will give you a larger sum of money for a piece of your company, and they can provide you with mentorship, office space, whatever you may need to make your product a success. But just to reiterate, the first industry for Silky AI is definitely software as a service and business to consumer. We may develop technology in parallel when trying to create this, you know, solution that is going to be B2B, but we're mainly focusing on B2C right now. Definitely the cochlear implant waterproof idea is going to be B2B, and I'm hoping to sell directly to the cochlear implant manufacturers to get them to make waterproof cochlear implants a industry standard. That's it.
Got you. Appreciate those answers because, like I said, I'm also trying to get into space, and B2B is business to business, right?
Right.
Business
Right.
to consumer is B2C.
Right.
Got you. I learned informally from a few pitch competitions that I did, and they were talking about business to consumer, and that definitely is good to get that early feedback for consumers because you don't want to sell them a product that they may never use or they just might buy because it looks good, but they don't really see the benefits of it and how it's going to benefit their life. So I
Absolutely.
appreciate that answer.
Yeah, of course.
Um, so closing out with the graduate school topics, what advice would you give to someone considering pursuing a PhD program?
Pursuing a PhD program in general, I would say just try to really buy into what you're doing. Try to be focused. I feel like I came into the PhD program kind of just off of graduating and off of a summer internship. It was kind of lackadaisical. I was like not really in it. So I would definitely sink your teeth in and just really grind hard for that first semester, really first year, get it out the way. Um, and then try to find a problem or some sort of task where it's going to occupy your time and make your brain actually work. I really wanted to study material science to make any material that I wanted, period. I didn't really think of, okay, let's focus on just cochlear implants. I'm okay with focusing on any other kind of material that may need help, but it's just the idea of being able to come up from zero to a finished product and just use, science to bridge the gap, essentially. Um, yeah, that's really it. We'll leave it there.
Got you. Well, appreciate those responses about graduate school. And now we're going to take a step back and go down memory lane to undergrad. So,
Okay.
what was your on campus involvement during your time at FAMU?
I'm gonna miss a couple here. I think let's start with first semester. I think I joined a dance org. I don't know if they're still around, but
You
shout
can
out to them.
dance?
I used to dance. Yeah. Um, what else? I think I joined Nesby just pretty early, but I wasn't really involved. I was just a member initially. Oh man, what else was I involved? Of course, the engineering LLC took up some time. Spring semester, what did I do? I think I really did anything. I joined local cultural organizations, the DMV club, things like that. COVID hit, and
Yeah.
then that's when I became a physics tutor over during COVID, so completely virtually. Um, Started doing undergraduate research after that. That continued until I graduated. Was Nesby what is it called? Mr. Fam
Yeah,
State.
yeah, yeah. What was that Spring 21?
That was
Spring
like
21 when he won, I think.
yes, spring 21. And then briefly, Nesby GP. But we're gonna talk mainly on the Mr. Fam State part of that if you want to go Nesby. But I think that's really it. Yeah, that's really it. I think.
Man, what about engineering school? You missed the organization. Weren't you in Theta Tau?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, dang, how you gonna
No,
shout out
I
engineering
yeah.
school?
Hey, my brain slips nowadays. Yeah, no, I definitely joined by Theta Tau. That was pretty cool. Oh man, now you got me thinking. What else did I miss?
We can always leave it at that if you want
I was
to.
I was a part of IISE SME. That was like the Institute of Industrial Manufacturing Engineering, and then Society of Manufacturing, something like that. So
Yeah.
that was an industrial engineering organization on campus. Yeah, we'll leave.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. All right. So, the questions I developed are mainly surrounding the around tutoring because we talk about leadership. Usually, tutoring is one area where people don't really think of as like a traditional leadership kind of experience. But you're
Right.
taking that first step of helping those behind you, and that essentially is the definition of leadership. So, like, what motivated you to become a tutor, and what did this is not this is not worded properly. What did you find? We'll start with that. What motivated you to become a tutor? Start with that part.
What motivated me to become a tutor was honestly during COVID, I needed just a little bit of extra money. So I needed to like find some way to support myself a bit more. And then Dr. Caldwell, like I said, was advising me on different opportunities that she had available. And so physics was one of them. Physics tutor was one of them. Really, it's a physics pass leader, which is a peer assisted study session, but it felt very much like a tutoring role.
Yeah,
Um, and so, yeah, I also like, I don't mind teaching people. I think that that will only make me a better leader, having to explain maybe troublesome or different concepts to people who may be struggling with certain things. So I just feel like that can make me a better person overall. So that's why I did it.
got you. And I definitely worded this wrong on the my reference sheet right here. But beyond getting paid and
Mhm.
like, what did you find most rewarding about your role?
I found it very rewarding to be able to articulate something uh, complicated to someone who may be struggling with it, and on the other side of it, they're able to understand it. I think it's very rewarding just to be able to teach someone something that I learned. Physics really didn't come easy to me. So when I had my very own leader or, tutor able to explain it to me and I'm able to explain it, like pass that knowledge on, it's rewarding. It's that's rewarding.
Got you. What strategies did you use to assess the students' understanding and progress if they were a frequent visitor to coming to you as a tutor?
Yes, actually, the way the tutoring sessions were set up, it was really we would all have to meet. We would all meet virtually online. So it was like the entire group, let's say a group of like 10 to 12 students would kind of come together and I would quiz them. I would ask for questions at the very end of my presentation I would give on what they learned in class. And I would ask each student individually kind of, what they know or different. I would ask them different questions depending on, what area we were in, just to see if they were paying attention and to see if they actually understood where we were at. Um, and then I think what would really help is just going by one and seeing like, hey, do you have any questions with this? Are you struggling with anything? And just really assessing, on a one-to-one basis.
Got you. Talk about what techniques you used. Talk about what techniques you used to help the students, but what techniques did you use to help motivate those students who came to you? They're feeling discouraged. They have a test tomorrow. They have a homework assignment that's due at 11:59. Like what helped you to help them stay encouraged? Like what did you do? What some skills you used?
I think the main thing is very like a ground level practice problem. So if there's a concept that's very complicated at a high level, then you can definitely take it down to its very basic components and on a more simpler basis, and just say, okay, here's how this basic formula or function kind of operates. We're going to change one thing about it and raise it up to this level. And we're going to change another thing about it, raise it up to this level until we eventually make it all the way to that complicated level, and they're able to see their progression in the future. And like, okay, if you're able to do it on this high level, you're able to do it on this low level, and you're able to understand it. If you're able to do it on this low level, you're also able to do it on this high level. Just think about it in abstract terms. That really helped for me. And if they're still not able to get it or they're still struggling, I would just recommend them practice problems and just kind of redo it, and then provide them with the answers at the very end after they attempted the problem on their own.
Got you. Got
Mhm.
you. What advice would you give to someone who wants to go into tutoring and yeah, I got to leave it at that. What advice would you give to someone who wants to go into tutoring to help their peers out?
I would say consult with your friends or your peers on your leadership style and your teaching style to see if you would actually be a good tutor. I think the last thing you want is to become a tutor and you're discouraging someone from learning, or you're not wanting them to, you're not really helping them out. You're kind of just talking at them. So I would first, check yourself and make sure you're okay to tutor. And then once you get into tutoring, um, you should try to just hone your skills and don't be afraid to relearn things yourself and explain things in every, possible way.
Yeah, I wanted to say, I think one last part kind of goes back to your entrepreneurship advice, seeking out what's the demand, like
Mhm.
what are subjects people are struggling in, and what subjects already have like more than enough or quote unquote more than enough tutors in that section. Like if you have a lot of Calc 1 tutors, we still need people for Calc 2 when people move up, or even like on the pre-algebra level or programming, all the above. So I feel like that goes into play too with it. Um, how's your various campus involvements helped you get to where you're at now?
I think my various campus involvements kind of like your wall behind you, it shaped your personality. So you're just able to meet a whole lot of different people and get into a whole lot of different situations where you're able to say, okay, this is something I like to do, this is something I don't like to do. Um, and it really just kind of just builds your confidence to put you at a level where you're able to achieve whatever goals and dreams you want to achieve. I would just say in general, like the whole physics tutor thing just kind of showed me that, okay, I can really be an official, leader, if you will, like a figure in someone's life that they would trust with giving them information, and they would use that information to benefit themselves. So I was like, okay, I can use that for entrepreneurship stuff. Joining Theta Tau, that's like a fraternity. It was like, okay, I can be in a professional fraternity that also has some social interactions, and I'm able to kind of maintain a brand, effectively. Um, Nesby, of course, just that's just a great word, just to be around a bunch of, Black engineers and just, talk with them, discuss things. These are people that kind of will stay in your life, just like you, Rahsaan, after you graduate. So it's like, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was my next question because you're one of the people I actually met you my first semester, and I was also emceeing your pageant. Um, do you still maintain relationships with people who you served alongside with during your leadership during undergrad? Like, for example, Clark, who was your Miss Fam State at the time, and like other people.
Yeah, I definitely, I don't really like, I may not talk to people on a month-to-month or day-to-day basis, but I still have their number. I still have their contact information if it's time to reach out. It's definitely just a lot of fitting in, the schedule with people. But if people reach out to me, I'll reach out to them for sure. For me, it's just kind of like sometimes I'm occupied with my own things, and it's like trying to foster that relationship is it just whenever I think about it, I kind of reach out to that person and check in with them. So that's yes, it's like on a person to person basis, I think.
Yeah, got you. You kind of answered this earlier, but overall, what was your why as a leader and what keeps you motivated today? Like internally, like what gets you out of bed in the morning?
What gets me out of bed in the morning today, honestly, is being able to like decide and control my own destiny when it comes to like everyday work schedule. I'm in a good enough position where my advisor trusts me to get up, come to work, do what I have to do, leave, and then at the time I leave, I can work on my startup. I can work on whatever I really want to do, and that's just freeing because I have a lot of opportunity to do, like I said, whatever I want to do, which is it's just great. I don't have anything, like a burden or anything. My why, I would say, is I genuinely want to have a cultural impact and change the world in some meaningful fashion, but I also want to have a sense of accomplishment and achievement in doing something that I didn't think was possible to do. I call myself the CEO, but I really never it's hard to see myself in
Yeah, I
that
was gonna
position.
say that's your whole Instagram name. First two letters.
But absolutely, sometimes it's like, I was meeting with investors or meeting with venture capitalists, things like that. And, it's trying to explain myself as like a startup founder and things like that. It's kind of surreal because it's like, just a couple of years ago, you were just like a high school, graduate. Now you're an undergrad. Now you're a PhD student. Now people are looking at you as a subject matter expert. And it's like, wow, like time really flew, but also it's what I want to do. So it's like the responsibility that I keep getting piled on me is like, okay, yeah, it's gonna be, a burden, but at the same time, it's like this is what I asked for. I'll adapt to it and I'll become hopefully a better person at the end of it.
I will say, speaking of adaptation, the world is always changing, especially in the technology world. What are techniques to make sure that you use to make sure you're steadily improving, not just as a leader, but also, like you said, subject matter expert in
Mhm.
your field?
I'm trying to read a lot more. That's really the ground truth of it is just read a lot more, obtain a lot more information, have discussions and conferences with people on maybe pressing questions or topics that you need to keep up with. In terms of the entrepreneurship stuff, um, there are trends and then there are actual like impacts to the industry. So I would say learning how to decipher between this is something that's going to be like a fad or a trend, or it may not be as relevant a couple years from now versus something that's like this is a great tool you should adapt to your company, your startup, your program. um and then what techniques am I using to steadily improve as a leader is I would talk with people who I'm working with now, who I'm a peer with, and I would like ask them if there's anything I can do to improve. I know one thing that I needed to improve on back in undergrad was definitely like communication, just in general, just getting out ahead of problems before they needed to be addressed. So now I'm just able to, provide someone with an update before any sort of things happen or, any grievances occur down the road. Um, yeah, we'll leave it there.
Got you. That's the last question I have. Closing out, do you have any last remarks you want to share that weren't covered, or any questions from me?
Any questions for you? Last remarks? No questions really, but just yeah, no. I think you're doing a great thing here, Ra. You're definitely gonna have like a nice, catalog or database of network of people that can come and view these and hopefully gain or learn at least one piece of information that they didn't know prior to this. And if you want, you can definitely, when you upload this, have my contact information in there, either for the startup or, just Instagram, whatever. And I should be able to hopefully reach out to people that may need, additional follow-up questions or want an additional interview after this interview. So, yeah.
Gosh, that's what it's all about, making the world a better place. But Austin, known you for a couple years. Appreciate you for everything you've done in those couple years. From giving me rides to and from meetings to all the above. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. Being a PhD student, it's not for the weak. But yeah, I just want to thank you and all that. I said it like three times already.
Oh,
But
you good. You
yeah,
good.
just closing out. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, or even come back to watch the video in case you might have missed something. But until next time, stay tuned for more amazing episodes on amazing leaders that I've known personally, and I want to share the world with y'all. So yeah, peace out, y'all.